competition.
Hey, wait a
The
second. I
Vacuuminator
didn't press the
is
unmute
here.
button. I didn't press the unmute button.
God
Ladies,
damn it.
hey, Face Front True Believers, this is Modular Media's No Price Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Gaston, with me as always in the bullpen.
At least you caught it early this time. Representing the distinguished competition, the Vacuuminator is here.
I always catch it early.
That's... So, when did you get COVID then? Like, 2019?
Nah, but hey, this is the comic book podcast we do here on Modular Media, which you should always subscribe to, because Modular Media and podcasts that we do a variety of.
Yeah. How about that? Like,
Cause-
comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Shill.
Engage with the algorithm. Have a parasocial relationship with us.
Fire Emblem Engage.
Buy our Modular Media Booty Boost Shakes.
Oh God. You're already going. So hey, if you're new to these podcasts, I don't know why this is the one you decided to start watching, but hey, I'm glad you did. We're gonna talk about the latest Marvel show that happens. So, She-Hulk. Shulk. I'm really feeling it.
I actually really enjoyed this episode. This is the first episode of the show that I actually really got into. Not to say that the others have been bad, they've just like not fully engaged me, but this one I was like I was really feeling it.
This is fun, goofy lawyer shenanigans with very little superhero pretense.
But it also feels like the characters are just gelling a lot better than they have been, and there's some fun world building in this too.
No, you were right. Like, between character interactions, like, the show started off at like a B. It was good. And it has just grown steadily to a more of an A, and everybody has just great, wonderful chemistry.
She-Hulk is going to have 8 episodes, Buster, so we have 3 left. Also, hey, look, you put a chat box on the show now.
I did. The only problem is if Buster ever decides to guest, it won't be there. Because Buster,
we could make like the slideshow smaller.
We can figure something out. But it is pretty cool, Buster. It is pretty cool. This latest episode of She-Hulk was pretty damn good, and this is like, she's been accurate to the comic She-Hulk several times, and it's not necessarily like
there's been little moments of accuracy.
But what I'm saying is that I am not decrying the version of this character as like being bad. It's just more of like the MCU She-Hulk and comic She-Hulk are 2 different characters because they are.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the most comic book like she has been the entire series.
Yeah, this just felt like a done-in-one issue of the comic, which was great. And, like, I don't know. There's just something about this episode where, like, I feel like I have things to say rather than points I know we need to hit. Like, for starters, I really enjoy Nikki and the other lawyer guy as, like, a B-plot duo. They were great this episode.
I love their chemistry of just being, like, the best bros.
Uh-huh.
I love
I love that he's a bit of a doofus without being like, lol, men are stupid. Like, he's just kind of a golden retriever type.
Oh, yeah, and he's also, like, a nerd, but it's not poking fun at nerds, because he's a sneakerhead.
Daredevil appeared yet. Daredevil was teased at the end of this episode, so he's probably in episode 6.
Yeah, he's in the next episode. He was heavily teased. That helmet looks choice.
I mean, like, that suit has just been like, for a suit design that in the comics I don't care for, it looks really good MCU-ified.
Here's the thing. I understand why people complain about the yellow and red. I love the yellow and red just because of what it represents for the character. Daredevil just fast. Yeah, that's fair, Buster.
It is worth watching the rest of it, even though there's been conflicting reports on whether Born Again will be a straight reboot or not. We'll probably know by the end of next week.
It's probably, from what I heard, it's a soft reboot, as in, like, They're just gonna take the details they want to take and ignore the ones they don't.
Yeah, which I mean is kind of just the format for things lately anyway. But like, we'll talk more about that next week. Right now, let's talk about Avengers.
Avengers. That's fucking of course, because like that's always the thing in the comics, and I hate just keep bringing up the comics, but like it's the point of reference.
Mm-hmm.
The Avengers are heavily marketed.
Mm-hmm.
Like all superheroes are pretty much like multimedia franchises within the comic world.
That's actually one thing I've always liked about Marvel in comparison to DC is how they will always throw in that little detail of here's how we're funding this team operation. Like you always just kind of assume like, oh, Batman is paying for the Justice League to exist. But like the only piece of media I've ever seen that like explicitly states it is the Justice League cartoon. Like there's that moment in the pilot where they're like, how did you afford this space station? And he's like, I put a line item in the aerospace budget, and like that's it. But like I have always headcanon that like Batman and any other characters with a billionaire secret identity who are on the Justice League are just like funding the team somehow. But Marvel always makes that explicit. Like the Fantastic Four have a whole marketing department in their building, and I love that shit.
It is purposely to fund the Fantastic Four while also funding scientific endeavors, and it's ran as a non-profit. They're not trying to make money off of it, they're just trying to run their shit.
Yeah. But because that exists, of course, bootleg merchandise also exists. And I love that they made it all look like actual bootleg merchandise you would see in LA. Like, they could have easily just been like, here's a bunch of actual merch we pulled from a warehouse, and we just put it in here and kind of, like, changed it a little to look like... No, that all looks like they made it for this show. I really appreciate it.
But it also has, like, the distinct Funko Pop, but Disney-owned version of the aesthetic. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind seeing, like, that kind of stuff because, like, here's the thing. Spider-Man doesn't own his IP, and oftentimes that's a big source of comedy with Spider-Man, because usually the person who owns it is the Kingpin.
Yeah, doesn't Ultimate Spider-Man have a whole subplot about that?
I think so. But, like, it's things like that, and then you also have characters such as, like, the Punisher, who actively hate this aspect of the superhero world, and at one time saw a cop with a Punisher sticker on their car and went like, "Fuck you! You don't look up to me."
If you put a Punisher logo on anything, Frank Castle hates you. That's why I'll never show the reverse of this beanie on the show.
Oh yeah, no. Here's the thing: IRL, you can kind of be a little bit like, yeah, the Punisher's a cool character. You're not supposed to like the Punisher. Ever. You're never supposed to like the Punisher.
Yeah. The Punisher is an interesting character. I wouldn't say I like him.
Oh, God. I'm trying to get this at a good height. Okay.
You're not bad. You're only a little lower than you usually are.
Okay. That's better.
Yeah, that works.
But the reason why they find all the bootleg Avenger merch is because Nikki and... What's the guy's name?
I don't remember. I just call him Utter Lawyer Guy in my head.
But he's a good guy. He's a friendly dude.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's not like the dickhead we were dealing with early in the show. He's like the exact opposite of him, which retroactively, now that we have this episode, I actually really like that they paired them up earlier in the show. I want to go back and rewatch that episode.
Yeah. But also you got to remember, that other dickhead lawyer is quintessential Marvel civilian.
Yeah.
Like, to a T. But, like, they're trying to find the person who can make Jen some superhero clothes so she doesn't...
She just bought everything that was available at the Big and Tall Mart for her job, and it looks terrible. I hadn't even noticed how bad it looked on her until they pointed it out this episode, and I was like, oh yeah, shit.
Oh yeah. It was just not great. It was not a great vibe because she's at the height and build now. She has to wear men's clothes. Well, men's cut.
And then
there is no men's clothes. There's no women's clothes. It's just different cuts of fabric.
Male presenting cut.
Yeah, male presenting cut. We don't see the leotard yet, but we do
But
get a hint at it.
they also tease it, and I kind of dig that. Like, we were talking about back when that figure got revealed, like, this is clearly based on concept art. We may not actually get this suit in the show. I think we're getting that suit, or at least something that looks like it now. And I'm kind of happy about
Well,
it.
I saw some of the promo advertisements for the next couple batch of show episodes that shows the leotard, and it's not bad. It's pretty accurate. It's less high-waisted swimsuit John Byrne and more like relatively understandable shorts.
Okay. And I did really enjoy the fashion designer character, whose name I do remember. He's Luke. He was just really fun. Like, he felt like that stereotypical fashion designer who could or could not be gay, but like in a fun way, not in like a, oh, look at these people kind of way.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite line of the episode is when he goes, "My stuff holds up to the highest combat standards. I don't make basic shit." And I was like, oh fuck, he's serious.
But then they get him with the challenge of making a stretchable fabric that can fit both regular Jen and She-Hulk, and he's like, challenge?
When he turned around to the other guy to be like, "Hey, order stretch wool," I half expected him to say unstable molecules.
I would not hazard a guess if the next episode Jin starts asking like, what is this stuff anyway? And he goes like, oh, I tried some stretch wool, we tried this. Ultimately, we figured out there was this one technological firm out in New York, because remember, they're in LA, out in New York, creating this material called unstable molecules. Really hard to get.
I could see that happening, but also I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him again in this show. However, I do think he's going to pop up in more stuff from here on just because of who he is. Like, again, I really like that they introduced a superhero fashion designer as world building, and now they can have him just cameo in like any project they want going forward, especially because I looked him up after this episode. For the first time, I went to the Marvel Wiki instead of you. This guy has only appeared in one 6-issue miniseries from the 80s, and he was a schlubby white guy in that. Like, they totally overhauled his character, but kept the spirit of it, and it really works in this context.
That's the beautiful thing that Marvel likes to do, is they take characters that, like, no one gives a shit about so they can change them radically. So they could just write whatever they want.
That's technically the entire story of the Guardians movies.
The Guardians movies are very similar to Guardians post-Annihilation.
That's true, but like, the Guardians didn't have a lot of fans until Annihilation.
Yeah, but like, Drax is 100% complete. Frogman technically did show up, but as a background cameo. It's the actor who's gonna be playing Leap Man or whatever the villain version of it is.
I didn't even notice that. So, but he's not full on in this episode. He's probably gonna. I would imagine he's episode 7, because episode 8 is probably gonna be like a big bring it all together type thing.
Yeah. But it's fun, and the A plot. We've only been talking about the B plot so far. The A plot is Titania. I know it's not Titania, it's Titania.
Because they don't want people giggling.
Well, Titania is the name of the fucking Queen of the Fairies.
That's true.
For all the stuff you're excited about? Yes! You're supposed to watch it and get excited about it, Buster.
That's how they make it. This is why they save the main event to the end of a wrestling pay-per-view. This is why we tell you to like, comment, and subscribe earlier in the video instead of at the end these days.
Yeah. Basically, Titania trademarked She-Hulk, and Jen is like, no.
How do I fix this?
I'm lawyer, I know how to fix it. I just need to get someone to help me fix it.
And I really like this version of Titania. I know we talked about her like in the first episode a little bit, but like, I'm not super familiar with comic Titania. I know what she's about. I've read like 1 or 2 appearances, but like, I wouldn't say I'm a Titania expert. This version of Titania, though, I really dig. Like, as a guy who is a YouTuber and knows about influencer culture and is like semi-aware of the more female-oriented side of it, I just found her hilarious and super engaging. Like,
Oh yeah.
one of the like subtle things I really dug was just the score whenever she's on screen. I love how it gets like really poppy and bubbly. It reminds me of like a women's fitness chair or something.
Screwball, but good. A little bit.
Mhm. Yeah.
But she's great, and basically the whole thing is the whole crux of the legal battle is Jen has been disagreeing with the audio with the world calling her She-Hulk. So Titania has legal precedent of the fact that like you are not accepting of the name, you don't want the name, I can have it.
Mhm.
So they have to prove that she actually uses She-Hulk. So all the bad dates she went on as She-Hulk are brought in to prove that she has used the name and embraces it.
hmm And I like how they brought that back and used it in a way that, like, in the actual episode, like, ultimately I liked it, but it did feel a little uncomfortable at first, just because, like, it's all stuff I've heard before and is kind of negative towards men. But put in this context, it was just really fun and, like, actually gave me something that I could relate to. Like, the bit after they won the case and she's in the bar talking with the other lawyer about, like, how hard it is to get people to look at you on dating apps and like how low the response level is even when you're super powered. Like I actually felt that a little. I actually was like, oh shit, I've experienced that. That's something that's kind of universal for men and women, and I dug that was in the show.
There's also like a beautiful moment between Jen and her lawyer where it's basically the whole point of the conversation is your self-worth is not determined by them. Your self-worth is determined by you, which was always a major running theme for a lot of versions of She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Of like self-confidence and being who you want to be.
And I like that they also gave like resolution to the guy who walked out after the one night stand. Like they kind of went back and said like, no, he's not a scumbag. It's just he was into a very specific thing and it wasn't going to work out, and he just cut it off before it could have gotten toxic.
Which, you know, fair enough, but it's also just heartbreaking to see Jen's face when they ask, if she wasn't She-Hulk, would you have went out with her? And he goes like, no. And it's just like, yeah. He is being honest and he's being truthful. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, damn.
And then the flip side of that, the fucking writer guy was hilarious. Because, like, he gets one line this episode, and I forgot about him from the other episode, but his one line is, like, something that anybody who knows somebody who is a writer but isn't actually published yet, yeah, that's exactly how those dickheads tend to talk.
Oh, yeah, no, everyone's, like, perceived idea of She-Hulk was just, like, icing on the cake. It was just very opinionated, up their own ass kind of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. But there's one thing we also need to talk about with the B-plot that needs to be brought up in the credits. We have our first appearance of XMen in the MCU.
I didn't notice this.
Okay, so in the show, the friend, the male lawyer friend, basically says, hey, I'm looking for the Tony Stark, the Iron Man 3. He's a sneakerhead. He's collecting sneakers. And it's apparently the idea is the sneakers are inspired by superheroes. Well, in the credits, he is showing off those sneakers. No, I'm being facetious.
Marvel, this is the 5th time you've shown the first appearance of the X-Men in glass!
But in the credits, there's one of those drawings where he's showing off the sneakers to someone. And you see Iron Man, you see Hulk, you see Hawkeye, and you see Cyclops, and you see Storm, and you see
Oh,
Deadpool.
that's cool.
Yeah. Like, they're just going like, hey, you guys know that we have these things, so we're just going to start referencing them and making jokes about them without with the understanding that we're going to get to that one day.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, Deadpool probably is going to be the first actual MCU connected X-Men movie. And they're just going to go ham on that shit. So it's like okay to start sneaking it in now.
Oh yeah. I did see a rumor. I don't know. I definitely doubt the validity of it. Of basically the idea that the Fox X-Men are under contract till 2025. That if they are to do any character that they were portraying in the Fox X-Men movies, that they have first rights to the role.
I don't know when Deadpool is scheduled to release, but I have heard Ryan Reynolds has started training for it, so it's got to be filming soon.
Yeah. And in that regard, usually that kind of stuff takes a year and a half.
Yeah.
From beginning of production to end of post and marketing blitz.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't think there's anything else we much need to talk about with
more just like little bits and bobs we could bring up. Like, I thought the boss was really funny in his one scene.
Oh yeah.
I
love all the bullshit beauty products because like it's so fucking TikTok, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, remember when we talked about Black Widow on this show, and I told you in the flashback I saw a piece of crockery I actually own?
Yeah.
It fucking happened again. Jen is eating ice cream, avidly interested, because I've heard like there is a young Ben Parker in the movie, and I'm like, what the hell is that about?
They call it Madam Web, but it's just an adaptation of Trouble.
And like apparently the third movie that's delayed is an untitled Sony Marvel project, so it could be anything obscure Spider-Man. It might finally be the Silver Sable movie they've been threatening for years.
Yep. But hey, we don't have to worry about that, at least for a little bit longer.
Uh-huh. I think the newest, the soonest coming one at this point is Kraven the Hunter, coming out in October of next year.
But we also have Constantine sequel in the works with Keanu Reeves.
So this was knuckin' futz to hear about, because for those of you who aren't familiar, Keanu Reeves starred in a Constantine movie in 2005, and it's like a cult classic. I haven't actually watched it myself. I've always wanted to. I've just never gotten around to it.
From what I've heard, it's a cult classic, like fun action horror movie, but a piss poor Constantine movie.
Yeah, but like the fact that this is the first new DC project we've heard since the Zaslav apocalypse is so fascinating to me. Like, with the like weird renaissance Keanu Reeves has had over the last like 5 years, I'm really interested to see how this turns out. Like, I will probably watch the original sooner rather than later to get prepared to watch this when it comes out, because again, Warner Brothers is in shambles right now, so this may not actually happen, but if it does, I think it will just be fascinating to see how it turns out.
Oh, very much so. There is also... this is me being a dumb Marvel fanboy, but this also may limit the idea of Keanu being a ghostwriter of some variety.
Yeah.
Which is a fan cast for a lot of people, but I understand it's not like it's a fan cast.
It's not something I ever was like really gung-ho about seeing, but I can understand why people would want to see it.
I just want to see it because like he's a big fan of motorcycles and I think it'd be cool.
Fair enough.
Like, the guy owns a motorcycle company. Guy puts his money where his mouth is. Should be obscure guy, not ghostwriter. Buster, I hate to tell you this. By all counts of accountability of all, like, Of all realistic expectations, Ghost Rider is an obscure dude.
I had a thought though.
What?
Keanu Reeves as the Molten Man for one scene.
That's so dumb. I hate it. And here's the thing: if Keanu doesn't want to be like Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch or something like that, have him be the cowboy one.
He's the guy who sells Johnny Blaze his Ghost Rider motorcycle in the movie.
Johnny Blaze makes his motorcycle because it's a stunt bike.
Maybe he helps him. I don't know.
No, Keanu Reeves plays Johnny Blaze's dad.
Hey, there's an idea.
He plays the character he played in Toy Story 4.
Wait, Keanu was in Toy Story 4?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Toy Story 4.
He's the Canadian Evil Knievel dude.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have seen GIFs of that character.
Yeah, that's Keanu Reeves.
That's neat.
So hey, Marvel news. Kang the Conqueror returns to preview the future of the Marvel Universe. They did this recently, like about a year ago or so, a couple months ago.
They did the timeless one-shot. They're doing another.
Which, honestly, I say good on them, because it's like, it gives people like a framework of, alright, cool, this is the direction we're heading for stuff, so it's not just being blindsided by bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Keenan and Kel? Or is that Key and Peele? Because I think it Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele. Yeah, Key and Peele were in it. They were the stuffed animals in 4.
Good.
Keegan and Kel were in all that. They were Good Burger.
I know who they are. I'm just the one person from my generation who missed that stuff, apparently. So, like, I don't, like, dislike them. I've just never been interested in them.
But yeah, cover looks cool. They've already done this kind of thing once before. I think it's a solid little, like, hey, here's a preview of stuff upcoming. Here's some things to kind of get hyped for. Know what you're getting into.
And I mean, from what you told me, the last one was really hype. So since I know this one's coming, I might actually read it.
And like everything in the last one has like actually come out or has been like officially announced, such as Miracle Man coming back.
Yeah.
So that's all cool.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't released yet, but they've been making making a lot of press for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun way, it's a preview issue, but it's a fun way to like structure a preview issue, because if you have an omnipresent time-traveling asshole, why wouldn't you have him go like, and then in this time, this shit happened?
Honestly, I'm surprised DC has never done that with Metron. That would be like a cool idea.
It'd be cool. DC has the chronic case of copy Marvel, but don't copy Marvel. Like,
yeah.
Like, they want to copy Marvel, but they don't want to make it obvious, and they don't want to copy Marvel.
Remember All-Star? Remember that?
Remember All-Star? Remember Tales from the Dark Universe?
Remember Black Label?
Yeah, Chronic Case of I Don't Have a Plan. Yeah, they don't have a plan-itis. Marvel has too much of a plan.
Bro, that has been DC since the 90s. Like, just straight up. Like, the closest we've gotten to having a plan again is when Jeff Johns was just writing everything in the mid-2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Everything except Batman. And Frank Miller was off in his own... Or not Frank Miller, fucking...
Grant?
Non-binary king.
Grant Morrison.
Yeah, Grant Morrison was just off in his own little corner going, so I'm gonna make Batman a corporation, and it's gonna be great, and fuck off with your Green Lantern shit. I'm sorry, shite.
But hey, everybody loved that Batman stuff.
That's true. I mean, most people loved both of those things, so, like, it is a good.
That is the most accurate statement. DC has commitment issues.
Yeah.
Marvel has too much of a commitment issue. DC has no commitment. Like,
they should, like, There should be like a Marvel DC work on our bullshit summit where they just like give each other pointers on how to be better.
Look, you can just ignore one more day. Just get rid of it. But we did one more day. We have to keep one more day. No, you don't.
Look, you could just hire somebody to keep all the movie shit straight. Look, Kevin is a very nice man, and he's been so good for our publicity. You can find someone like that. We believe in you, King. But, like, talking to people is hard.
Look. Dan Slott said Franklin wasn't a mutant, so I guess he's not a mutant anymore.
Look, how are people supposed to get excited about a new comic if it's not a total reboot of the universe?
God,
have you considered legacy numbers?
I'm so happy Marvel has done legacy numbers. It is the best invention in long-running goddamn superhero books.
Like, the fact that DC has not adapted that, even though we have the action and detective numbering back, the fact that legacy numbers don't exist across the board for not just Marvel and DC, but any comic book company is bullshit, in my opinion. Like, there should be G.I. Joe kept the numbering from Marvel when it started at IDW. But, like, they could have very easily been like, IDW number 1, M number blah, blah, blah. And that would have been so cool.
Are you talking about us fucking ranting about our problems with the companies that we liked and the stories that we like from the companies that we hate?
Yeah.
It's just picking scabs at that point.
It is what it is. It's the nerd shit you come to this podcast for.
Yeah. Legacy numbers is really good, though, because you can just change the number every fucking time you get a new artist, and you can just go like, hey, there's number 1s. This is the beginning of the arc.
Like, it's such a simple but great solution to the fact that the comic book industry is at a point, and has been at a point for a long time, where you almost have to do a new number 1 every couple of years to keep people interested.
I think it's just because they like to rotate writers and artists more regularly and do shorter runs that are more succinct and more like beginning, middle, and end. That having this, at least for Marvel, having this structure makes so much sense.
Yeah. I also just hate how DC is inconsistent about it. Like, when frickin' Bendis came in and took over Superman, Superman got a new number 1. And yet, we will, just let me finish! I'm gonna let you finish, but I gotta get it in there. But then when Bendis left and it went on to the next guy, they kept the numbering for a while. And I have always thought, like, if you're gonna reboot for one writer, you have to reboot for every writer. Just let it be Superman by Brian Michael Bendis, number 1. Batman by Chip Zdarsky, number 1. Instead, we're on, I think it's Batman 130 something right now, right?
It's a way to have your cake and eat it too. Like, you talking about Nightwing is always like, oh, where do you got to start with the Tom Taylor Nightwing? It's like, oh, this fucking random number.
Late 70s, early 80s of the post-rebirth numbering.
Just fucking strip it all away, legacy number it, and you just go like, every new number 1 is a new different fucking artist. That's it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Marvel announces a Scarlet Witch series.
Yeah, there's going to be a new Scarlet Witch ongoing, probably because people are weirdly horny for Scarlet Witch these days, thanks to the MCU.
I mean, she's a cool character.
I mean, she is. It's just like, I don't think there's a big occasion for it right now other than that, but I could be wrong. The first issue of this could be like, holy shit, this is really interesting.
She's been doing a lot of background plays in the Marvel Universe lately, so...
I do like the new costume design. There was a bit of to-do about that, and I think like it's a kind of cool, sleek update that retains the horniness of the original, but in a much more classy way.
It's a classy, horny... Also, I love how we're in the age of, like, fingerless but not fingerless gloves in Marvel Comics.
It's such a weird fashion trend, but I do dig it.
It does look a little bit Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, but, like, How many characters in Marvel Comics have the thing where the palm is one color of a glove and the fingers are all a different color?
Also, I just fucking realized on this cover, the magic effects coming from her hands, those are the same fucking magic effects that they just introduced to Marvel Legends with that new Doctor Strange. Like, it's the same shape. I love that.
Hey, synergy, bud. Synergy. I wonder if we're going to get a new Scarlet Witch.
Who's writing and drawing this, by the way? I forgot to check.
Steve Orlando, which I'm pretty sure he's done some good stuff.
He was at DC for a very long time during Rebirth. He wrote Wonder Woman for a good long time. Most of my friends who are Wonder Woman fans did not like his run, but I did like the handful of Supergirl issues he wrote.
And the art is by Sarah Pichelli.
I don't know that name, but like, if that's is she doing the cover?
No, cover was by Russell Dalterman.
All right, well, I like that guy's art, so hopefully the interiors will be similarly good.
You know what? It's like pinup, it's like like classic pinup artist, but less horny.
Definitely.
That's what the cover reminds me of. It's like pinup artist, but less horny.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, it has the rendering of the quality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We also got a new Miles Morales comic with a new creative team. His old costume.
Thank whatever deities there may or may not actually be. I am somewhat excited for this. I did see who was writing this, but I forgot it. I'm sorry.
I'm not seeing who is doing it now. A mid artist.
Cody Ziegler. So, Cody Ziegler, I've read a few things he's written, and he's always come off as extremely mid to me. I don't dislike him, he's just not great. But, like, it's a jumping on point for... Yes, they had the audacity to change Miles's costume for
It wasn't a bad costume.
It was garbage.
It's not...
They put a do-rag on that boy's suit. What the fuck?
It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It could have been worse, and you know it.
They gave the Black Spider-Man a do-rag and a hoodie.
It wasn't a do-rag, it was a bandana.
Was it, though? It was bad. I did not like it. I'm glad he's going back to his old costume. And now you're going to pull it up to fucking continue this stupid argument.
Oh, would you look at that? It's a fucking bandana from the hoodie.
It looks like a do-rag to me.
Trying to get a good one. It is literally the fucking hoodie being tied up in the back.
I would have sworn in that issue of Ben Reilly that he had like a do-rag tied back in everything.
It is a little Scarlet Spidery. It's like Miles Morales went through a Clone Saga, got a Scarlet Spider costume without having a Clone Saga.
Like that, it looks like the suit he would have for a few issues before he gets his proper suits.
Yeah. But Buster, you were saying
it's a new start for Miles, and it's a new writer. It's going to be worth at least checking out.
Because the last writer's been writing it since 2018.
Yeah, Saladin Ahmad, who took over directly after Bendis left Marvel.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know what you're thinking, Buster. Like, this has only been the one Miles book for a long time.
I think Buster is talking about the suit that we were talking about.
No, I feel like there's a new Miles Morales comic every other year. There's miniseries.
Yeah, Miles is popular enough that he's had an ongoing that's gotten several number ones, and he's had a few miniseries here and there.
Mm-hmm. But overall, hey, new creative team, new creative direction. I read a little bit of the preview, and it says, like, hey, this time Misty Knight's going to play a little bit more of a role in Miles' life.
That's interesting. I didn't even know she had any connections to him. Buster, Ahmad left, I want to say, last year, and they've kind of just had Miles floundering around ever since. Like, he's not been gone. He's just been, like, only popping up in other people's books and having miniseries.
Yep. But we also get a brand new series from Marvel called Crypt of the Shadows.
So this article is a bit misleading. It's a one shot. It's like a Halloween special they're putting out.
Hell yeah! I'm glad for Halloween specials. That's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm not super interested in this, but I knew it would tickle your fancy.
Oh, I am definitely going to read this because it looks fucking right up my alley. Because I love it when Marvel dives more into their horror stuff.
See, I understand that. I understand that, Buster, but I have always heard people pronounce it Ahmad when talking about him. So,
Question?
I assume he pronounces it that way.
Vec, those people, were they white? I
mean, there were some white people, some black people.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna what was what other half of his name?
Saladin. His full name is Saladin Ahmad.
I'm just trying to, we'll just call him Saladin.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Saladin is also a first name I've never heard before hearing about him.
But a lot of this looks fucking hype as shit. I love it when Marvel dives into their horror stuff.
I think it's like an 80-page giant, and there's going to be like a 4 to 8 short story about each of the characters that's on the cover.
I think it's four like main stories because you have 4 big monsters and 4 heroes, and it looks like they're all fighting in this.
Who's the lady in the blue dress with the sword? I don't recognize her.
I don't either. She may be related to... Don't quote me on this. I think that's the comic version of the nurse from the first Blade movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, Elsa Bloodstone. Elsa Bloodstone's in it.
Yeah, Elsa Bloodstone getting some rep is kind of hype.
Moon Knight's always hype. Laura Kinney's always hype.
Oh, that's Laura. I didn't realize that was Laura. I thought that was Logan.
Oh, yeah, no, that's Laura, because if you look down at the previews, you see Laura fighting Man-Thing.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's gonna be hype.
Oh, that's gonna be so fucking hype. But boy, Marvel really diving into their horror supernatural stuff recently. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
That's kind of crazy, but cool.
DC returns to Just Imagine Universe in honor of Stan Lee's 100th birthday.
This is fucking hype. Because, I don't think anybody thought the Just Imagine Universe would come back. And it's coming back as the first multiverse thing after Dark Crisis reintroduces the Infinite Earths, and it has an official Earth designation now. This is Earth 6 in the DC multiverse.
Oh, I'm so glad it's related to the number 6.
Yeah.
You know? Because, Marvel 616.
I've never read the originals. I have seen some of the Linkara episodes. I'm not, fond of these versions of the characters, but I think it's so cool that they're bringing them back for, a big special... We appreciate Stan Lee. And I think... Is that version of Catwoman new? I can't remember if Stan Lee did a Catwoman.
He might have had her in, as a background character in an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, no, this is from a series of comics that Stan Lee wrote for DC called Just Imagine If Stan Lee Created the DC Universe.
Mm-hmm.
It was goofy, it was just a thought experiment. They've introduced the multiverse 1, 2...
Okay, so we had this discussion last week, but I will very briefly go over it again.
Yes, go over
DC had a multiverse for a very long time. Mm-hmm. Then for their 50th anniversary, they did away with it in Crisis on Infinite Earths. There was one DC universe for, I want to say 20, 25 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
Then Flashpoint put us in the New 52. There was still one universe for about a year and a half until they brought in Earth 2. Then there was kind of a very loose multiverse within the New 52. Then Rebirth brought us back to the old post-Crisis DC universe, and for a while there was just one DC universe again, until Grant Morrison introduced a sort of kind of multiverse that was very specific and very officially mapped out. There are 52 Earths. We know exactly what's going on. That's the way it's been for a while now. Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths is reintroducing the proper pre-crisis DC multiverse of there are just fucking millions of Earths out there, and you can do any kind of crazy batshit story you want and just say it takes place over there on an alternate Earth and you're cool.
Basically, DC had a Marvel-style multiverse, then they had no multiverse. Then they went like, what if we made a DC version of the multiverse? And then went, fuck it, let's just do the Marvel version.
Mm-hmm. Which is honestly kind of hype. I do agree with you though, Buster. That Catwoman design is great because it's basically just the Julie Newmar design modernized a bit.
Question though, this demon dude, is that Etrigan?
Maybe, I think so. I don't recognize him specifically.
It looks like an Etrigan. No, that's Shazam! I should have looked!
Amazing. Goddamn, Stan.
Batman looks cool.
Yeah, I recognize their Batman at least. I recognize Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Flash.
Yeah.
Because their Flash is a woman who wears a white costume.
Yeah, not a bad Flash.
Yeah, I don't dislike her. It's just like, oh, that's different.
Yeah. Also, their Aquaman is like a sea elemental.
Yeah. He is literally an Aquaman.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool. Godspeed before Godspeed. Yeah.
A little bit.
But it's really cool that they're just like honoring Stan in this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Like, it's
DC doesn't have
a cash
to do
grab,
that.
But it doesn't feel like a cash grab.
Oh, it is a cash grab. It is totally within the spirit of Stan Lee. This isn't going to charity or his like.
But it feels genuine and fun in that kind of DC, like, hey, here's something cool out of left field way.
It feels very Stan Lee. It's fun, it's heartfelt, it's caring, but also they're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Remember, I love Stan Lee. I hold no quarrels with the fact that he was a fucking slimy ass businessman.
Mm-hmm. Remember, Stan Lee was the comic book equivalent of a used car salesman.
He just knows how to really talk and really write.
Uh-huh.
So hey, we got the creative team for the Gargoyles comics coming out.
This was basically just confirming what we all had assumed coming out of SDCC. Oh god, his name like left my head immediately. The fucking creator.
Yeah.
He is not actually going to be writing this. He is going to be consulting on it, and they're going to be using his notes that he's had for years for what the next season would have been.
Yeah. I hope after they do this like final season comic,
they could just adapt it into animation.
No, not that. If they just go like, all right, cool. Gargoyles is now Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're just gonna reboot it every couple, tell
Greg
new
Weisman,
story.
thank you, Buster.
Good job, Busto. Just like we're gonna take these core concepts, these core characters, this core conflict, and change up some things every once in a while and make new versions.
Honestly, that would be super hype, and clearly the fan interest is there because the NECA figures have been selling really good.
Yeah, Gargoyles 2023. Like, do to the Gargoyles what the TMNT 2003 and TMNT 2012 did.
Honestly, I would watch that. I've always meant to watch the original Gargoyles because it seems like a really cool show. I've just never gotten around to it.
Yeah. So we got what is going to be the Marvel Legends Marvel Unlimited subscription bundle, Yellow Daredevil.
So this is interesting to me because, like, on the one hand, it makes sense. It's brand synergistic because we're about to get Yellow Daredevil in the MCU. But also, we already have this figure pretty much.
It's a good couple years old, though.
He was a Walgreens exclusive in 2016, I believe. And this is almost that exact same figure. But they changed the paint on the boots. It's a darker color. And they changed the color of the batons and the holster for the batons. and the logo is no longer the big D that goes all around the midsection. It's now the classic double D. So
Yeah.
it's a little different, but it's also like if you already have a yellow Daredevil, you don't need this.
Yeah, you don't need it. It's neat. Yellow Daredevil is everywhere. He's a classic. It's a classic version of the costume.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it the original costume? Didn't we get that before we got Red Daredevil?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the original.
So it is
version.
technically classic Daredevil, though I think a lot more people think of the red costume.
But it's like saying
Daredevil.
like Wolverine is the Wolverine that everyone should have is the Wolverine from the very first appearance in the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, technically that's the first version of Wolverine, but that's not the first version of Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's a prototype. We eventually got the real Wolverine that we all know and love.
You don't buy growing form Kuga, you buy mighty form Kuga.
Yeah. So, speaking of legacy characters and iconic looks, we have Hell Charger Ghost Rider.
The Marvel Legends HasLab Engine of Vengeance campaign has officially launched. We all knew this was what it was going to be, and I think it turned out really well. I have a bit of sticker shock because this is going to be $350, but they showed off so many features to this thing, and it looks like just a really well sculpted Dodge Charger that's not a Dodge Charger. I think it's worth the price, especially because they have said the stretch goals are all going to be additional 6-inch figures that they can't do at retail, and they teased Mephisto.
Ooh, that'd be fun. I would also love to see a figure of his brother.
Apparently, there's going to be, for the first time with a Marvel Legends HasLab, an early bird campaign. If this funds within the first week of it being live, which it's already been live for 2 days? Yeah, 2 days, because it launched Friday afternoon. The early bird bonus is you will get a figure of Robbie Reyes in human form.
Okay, I just gotta say, this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We need a Danny Ketch, and we need I put Cosmic in here too.
I think if this, because we do have Cosmic, I think if this,
that's what I'm not saying. We need a new Cosmic
Ghost Rider figures that they can do at retail next year. Like we will probably get Danny Ketch next year if this funds.
I'm not saying
it hasn't funded yet. I think it's at 4,000 right now, and they need. Oh god, I forget how many they need. I'll just pull it up real quick on Hasbro Pulse.
But I wasn't saying like, oh, they need to make a Cosmic Ghost Rider. It was more of like, in that image, bring out the old Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm. But like, I love how it's got both a street form and a hell form. I love that they put they put lights and sounds in it. I love that it has adjustable, removable seats, and like the clutch actually moves, and there's an opening trunk. Like they clearly packed as much into this thing as they could to make it worth the price on the initial thing, because like even if you're not a car guy, it needs 9,000 backers, and it's currently at 3,810 backers.
And it like they even sculpted the fucking floor mats.
Yeah, like this seems like they went all out. Even if you're not a car guy, even if you're not a Ghost Rider guy, you could get this just to have this car in the background of figure photography. These fire effects can be used for figure photography. If I wasn't currently needing to spend money on other important life shit, I would have caved on this because it looks so nice.
And a fucking Tradmore face ass Robbie. That is Tradmore's art right there. Ooh.
Dude, they brought Tradmore and the other creator onto the live stream
and
interviewed them about like some of the ideas that went into the creation of Robbie and how they're feeling about the HasLab, because they shot the interview like a week ago and showed them an early unpainted prototype, and they were like, they had the typical reaction of like, whoa, it's unreal to see something we created in 3D form.
They're asking for double confirmation about addresses, aren't they, Avac?
Yes, they sent out an email a couple weeks ago asking for double confirmation on Galactus's. It's still expected to start shipping in November, so we'll probably have ours in mid-November, early December.
Oh boy, this is just like all the great. It's amazing.
It looks so great.
And I'm just trying
They
to
even
think.
sculpted the undercarriage. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little smack as a toy collector. I saw some people the day before and day of going like, remember before you back this thing, Mattel has made cars for their WWE line at 112 scale, and they look pretty nice. This looks way nicer. Like, I'm not talking smack on those Mattel cars, because for a while they were the only 112 scale cars we had for figure photography, and they were solid. But
Oh my
like,
god.
they're meant to be kids' toys that can be busted apart and be goofy wrestling action toys. This looks like a high-end replica of a Dodge Charger that has everything but the Dodge logo on it. It is so nice.
Here's the thing. Beautiful little attention to details. There is an LED in the headrest, so while he's sitting in the car, you can light the fire in his head.
Yeah, and apparently the LED is so small that if you don't have him in there and you turn the LEDs on, you don't even notice.
It's basically just there for light piping.
It's so good. And apparently the back seats are accurately small to a Dodge Charger, but you can still fit a figure back there. So you can fit 3 figures inside this bag.
It is just like phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Like, they clearly went all out. And more than that, like, as a guy who's just a fan of toys and somewhat follows the creators currently working at Hasbro and Mattel and Jazzwares and all those companies, this live stream was so wholesome to watch because it's the first time the entire Marvel Legends team have been in the same room. And like, they had a moment at the beginning where they were like, "Oh man, look at you, you dressed up nice for this. We carpooled in for this today." And then at the end, they had like a big team hug, and it was like, "Let's do this. Let's get this thing made." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, you kings go out there and get this thing made."
So, what do you think are the higher tier figures going to be?
So Dwight teased that it was going to be, again, characters that they can't do at retail, who are going to be more of the demonic persuasion. Obviously, we got the Mephisto tease. I think we're getting Blackheart, and I think potentially one other notable demon who I wouldn't know a name to throw out there because I just don't know this side of the Marvel universe that well.
So Mephisto, Blackheart. The only other one I can think of is like the guy from Limbo.
Maybe. They said there's going to be 4 stretch goals in total, and it's all going to be 6-inch figures.
So if I'm thinking about the character and what the character could reasonably need to have with them, other than like additional accessories for the Robbie, because they're
Guilty Gear figures to accompany this. Hell yeah!
Every fighting game should have a goddamn toy line. It is a travesty they don't.
Yeah.
Vac, we need to become rich and famous so we can make a toy company so we can do that.
Modular collectibles coming 2020 sometime.
Imagine, Buster, this is just for you. Imagine a Skullgirls posable figure line.
I've seen the Skullgirls designs. I would be into that too.
But what was I about to say? So Mephisto, Blackheart. I would say Robbie's brother. And Robbie's uncle.
That could be cool.
Because if you don't know the story of Robbie, he's not he's a ghost writer, but he's not a ghost writer.
Yeah, he doesn't have the spirit. They talked about this during the live stream too. He doesn't have the spirit of vengeance. He has the spirit of a specific guy. And apparently they pointed this out. The license plate is actually a reference to the name of the guy whose spirit it is.
That spirit is his uncle.
Ah. But yeah, again, $350 needs 9,000 backers to fund the base project, which, yeah, it's a lot of money. Initially, I was like, I wouldn't go over 200 for something that big. I thought about it for like a day and a half, and I went, you know what? With how much detail they put in, it is worth that price. It's currently at 3,811 backers. If it funds within the first week, we get Human Robbie Reyes, and it has 45 days total to fund, with 43 days, 1 hour and 16 minutes left at the time of this broadcast.
But next up, we have a Miles Morales with Spider-Ham Marvel Select figure. Boy, I didn't know they made a Miles with a hot dog up his ass figure.
Yeah, Marvel Select stock photos are always so awkward looking.
That is just not optimal.
Like, but here's the thing. Going by the articulation, I think this looks like it might be a solid Miles. I don't think it's going to be the be-all, end-all Miles, but if you're just somebody who likes Miles and wants a figure of him on your shelf, you could do worse than this.
Ultimate Spider-Man 2012. Yeah, but it also just looks very, very stiff.
It looks stiff because they clearly just put it straight up and down, put it in a photo booth, and just click.
Yeah.
But I like the accessories. I like that he's coming with multiple hands. I like that he's coming with web lines. Spider-Ham is a fun inclusion, even if he's not a necessity. And, like, that effects part, I think that's a Spider-Sense effect. I think that might be the first time we've gotten an official Spider-Sense effect.
It may be a Spider-Sense. It may also be a Miles Shock.
Could be. I hadn't thought of that, but you're right.
Yeah. It just looks like he has a goddamn stick up his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond Select, Marvel Select Super Scroll. Yeah.
Secret Invasion version. Such a random ass, almost deep pull that I kind of love that they went there. Like, this is something we wouldn't get in Legends, or at least we won't be getting anytime soon. So, like, it's cool that Diamond went like, hey, this is a thing fans might want. This was kind of a cool thing that happened. A friggin' Super Scroll that's in Black Bolt's costume. Here, if you want it, here it is.
Yeah. It looks neat.
Mm-hmm.
We got a Mondo 1/6 XMen animated Magneto. Some more details, some more photos.
The official solicitation, because we saw this thing on display at Comic-Con, but we have the official solicitation for this figure now. The second figure in their 1/6 scale X-Men animated series line. I think it looks pretty solid. I think it looks like one of the better Magneto figures we've gotten in recent years. Like, you could even fudge this into a comic display if you wanted to. And it's also just cool because I kind of sort of know the guy who sculpted this. I've been following FanPlastic4 on Instagram for about 1.5 years now. And this is not the first official work he's gotten, but he has been, like, a notable figure in the toy community. And this is the first, like, license work he's gotten, because he's worked on independent toy lines, but this is the first licensed character he's done. And I think it turned out really cool. And I'm just proud of the guy for having such a glow up over the last year.
Oh, yeah. No, it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
No, the thing I was kind of like, not giggling or guffawing at, that totally looks like Fatal Attractions when Magneto rips out the adamantium skeleton.
Yeah. Didn't they adapt that story for the animated series?
I don't think they did. I think the animated series might have been ending right when that story happened in the comics.
Okay. They could do that in the new season, though. There's tons of rumors that the new season is just going to do Krakoa.
Maybe. War Machine Mark II figure by 3-0.
Yeah, this is the, I think, third figure in their MDLX Iron Man line, and it's the first War Machine, and it looks really good. I'm still like, I think this line looks really good, but, like, it's not going to scale with my stuff, so I don't want to get any of the figures. It's marketed as 1/12 scale, which is 6-inch standard height. But the Iron Mans were both 5 inches, and I don't think they're going to change that for this War Machine. I think this will probably be like 5 or 5.5 inches tall.
Yeah.
Depending on how tall Rhodey is supposed to be and compared to Tony. But I do just like that we're getting another figure of this suit, because this is probably my second favorite War Machine design. It goes this, the Mark I War Machine from Iron Man 2, and then the original War Machine design from the comics is my number 3 favorite. War Machine is one of those rare characters where I feel like they got his suit perfect on the first try in the movies, and like that Iron Man 2 suit should just be the standard for how he looks in comics going forward.
I think the big problem is people like to over egg War Machine and make him this big dumb mech.
Yeah, I hate how he like progressively got more and more bulky in the MCU. Like that the suit he has in Infinity War is a travesty in my opinion.
It's fine understanding where the story came from and where it's going.
Mhm.
And plus, they want a visually distinct Iron Man and War Machine other than just having it be a palette swap.
He's got shoulder cannons. That's the distinction right there. But no, let's take away the shoulder cannons and just make his arms be bigger guns.
I mean, it's easier to aim that way.
But shoulder cannons look cool.
All right. We also got an Iron Spider coming from 3-0.
Yeah, they just kind of teased this. They showed the 3D gray sculpt, but like, hey, it's another character that's not Iron Man in this line. I like that they're going places with it. They're doing different stuff while still remaining in the same realm. And like, yes, the Iron Spider suit is kind of an armor, but like it's barely an armor. It's almost skin tight. So like this is the first like spandex hero they're kind of doing, and it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the kind of gappage that tends to crop up with that.
Yeah. But it looks neat.
Mhm.
Sentinel, SV Action, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Gwen, and Spider-Ham.
Yeah, this was another thing we saw in cases at Comic-Con, and we knew was coming for a while, but we hadn't gotten like official pretty photography from it from the company yet. And now we have it. God damn, this figure looks amazing. Like the SB action figures have been the closest to the animation without like being stupidly fragile that we've gotten so far, and this looks like it's no exception to it. Like I love how this turned out. If I wasn't already happy with my Marvel Legends, I would be planning to get this because like comic Spider-Gwen is cool. I've just never gotten into her.
Mm-hmm.
So like Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Gwen is my preferred Spider-Gwen design. And like this figure seems so
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no.
what has happened?
Oh no, you just kind of bounced out for a little bit. You just froze
Oh,
up.
okay. But like I love that they full on gave her an alternate body so you can have the schoolgirl look if you want.
You know what the best part about that is though? Look at the legs.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just the spider legs done as tights.
But like that's such brilliant reuse. Ah, I love it.
Vac froze at the mention of Spider-Gwen is in Fortnite. Yeah.
I mean, isn't everyone in Fortnite though?
And Spider-Ham has some fun things. It looks more like
Spider-Ham actually has posability, things that you can do with him. He's not just a glorified statue for once.
I mean, he is a glorified statue. It's just you can change out the arms and the legs, and
he has alternate. You know what he is? He's a glorified Nendoroid.
Yeah. Which sometimes you gotta do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You want that Spider-Ham? Yeah, bud.
You're probably gonna have to pay like $120 for both figures, though. I don't know if we have the official price yet. I think they just put out these photos, and we're probably gonna get the solicitations and pre-orders soon.
Hey, do you want a toy of a character who was only in the movie for like 5 seconds?
Sure, why not?
Tactical batsuit from the fucking goddamn nightmare bullshit.
Fuck this. I hate Zack Snyder's DC films. I hate the nightmare bullshit even more. Like, I recognize that some people who are very stupid like those, and they're probably a market that Hot Toys is catering to very nicely, but like, no.
This doesn't look like Batman. This looks like Night Owl. This looks like fucking Owl Man.
Furthermore, tactical and Batman are two words that should not go next to each other because tactical implies military guns combat bullshit, and that is not Batman.
It does look like an asshole. This is what we're not even going through all the fucking photos.
he was kind of an asshole. I mean, this is meant to be Justice League, but like we know that scene from Batman v Superman, and he kind of spent most of that movie being an asshole.
So this next figure, I'm not sure why you put it on the list.
So she is a comic book character. She's a very obscure Image character from the 90s. And this is technically her first action figure, coming from Loose Collector, the same guy who made that line of female figures a while ago that included Red Sonja and Vampire. Like, this guy just has a weird niche right now of making non-Marvel and DC female comic book characters, and apparently they've all turned out really well. Like, people really like these figures, who are the more like hardcore toy guys who are picking them up. And it is still technically comic book news, so it does deserve to be in here.
I just didn't recognize the character.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know who she was. I had to look her up. I was like, is this a comic book character, or is this like an anime I've never heard of?
But hey, that's all the news!
We did it! We did the news! The news was fit. We printed it. It's out. You've read it. Now, sit the hell down and listen to us talk about comics.
Yeah. We don't have a ton of comics to talk about. We have a sizable number, but not a super big number.
We're getting to them about an hour before we normally do in the evening.
Well, hey, guess what? We both read Daredevil, Issue 3, Legacy 651 by Chip Zdarsky.
This issue wasn't fantastic, but it was just kind of fun, solid, connective tissue to get us to the next big plot point.
It is very much set up. It is very much the world telling that, hey, your friends are in danger. Build a team.
Here's what Matt's up to. Here's what Luke's up to. Here's Matt fighting a thing. Here's what those villains from earlier in the run are up to. Here's Foggy. Foggy's gonna be a character in the book again, and he's probably not gonna have a fun time.
Here's Cole North. People like Cole North.
Yeah, I forgot about Cole. Cole's in this issue, and he gets a good little scene.
Yeah, and it is very much Chip going like, guys, I need to set up shit for the next issue, so here's some fun character.
Yeah. I also like how Luke is very much just like, I am not dealing with superhero bullshit anymore. I'm dealing with mayor bullshit.
That doesn't mean I won't
anyone else's bullshit.
That doesn't mean I don't sympathize with superheroes. It just means like I can't fucking go and punch shit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which is fun. I also like the member of the Hand who trained Elektra coming in and taunting Matt and going like, hey,
has she appeared before?
I think she's been talked about and may have appeared every once in a while.
Okay. But, like, apparently she's going to be the main villain going forward. Apparently she's the mastermind behind Punisher joining the Hand.
Because she taunts Matt with that information. He goes like, no! What?
He full on has a "are you fucking kidding me" moment.
It's beautiful. I love it. Especially because I've been reading the Punisher run that's going on right now, and it's just like, oh, beautiful.
And I'm gonna start reading it with the next issue.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about with Daredevil?
No, it was just a good solid issue.
Nice. I read the final issue of Spider-Punk.
Was it punky? Was it spidery?
Yeah, it was good. Okay,
Spider-Punked for.
Here's the thing. It was good. You want to know what these 5 issues were? Boy, I really like Spider-Punk. I wish we could tell that story and not just have it be in like 10 pages at the end of introducing the character. I wish we had more time to explore the world and interact with these people. What if I just made a sequel where I did that same exact story, but it's a sequel? and we just get to hang out with all these fun characters.
What if we just did the original story but better?
Yeah.
All right.
And for what it is, it's fun. It's a fun little thing. It's a bunch of just hanging out.
I love that Punk Captain America just means he puts on a jacket.
Punk Captain America isn't Captain America. He's Captain Anarchy.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So he's like a neighborhood watch kind of guy who just like helps the neighborhood.
How much panel time does he get in this? I might read it just for him.
Hulk is a little Blanca-ish. He doesn't have electricity, but he does show up and go like, "Oh, Hulk smash, yeah." No, he's like Robbie's like main best friend. He's in every issue of this run.
Damn it, I might have to read this thing because Captain America just sounds awesome.
And apparently, I've been misreading what the character is supposed to look like, which I don't know whether how that reflects on me, because someone makes "I will send you back to a casino" joke, which and Captain Anarchy just responds of like, "That's a little racist," and I'm just going like, is Captain Anarchy Native American?
Oh, interesting.
Because I don't know who else to like. Italian mob casinos? I don't.
Who's okay? So I know that clearly the characters between her are Ironheart and Miss Marvel, but who's the lady with the punk with the mohawk?
Well, considering she has 2 D's on her t-shirt.
Oh, see, like the image is so small for me, I couldn't see that.
Oh, that's right. So on this, we have Ironheart, Daredevil, Miss Marvel, Spider-Punk, Hulk, and Captain Anarchy. And together they create the Spider Band.
Yeah. Is Venom just called Venom, or does he have a punk name too?
Oh, Venom's not a hero. Venom is working with Norman. He's on the bad guys.
I figured as because of how he's in the cover.
No. The only member of the bad guys who is like punky is Taskmaster, and he's done up like the Misfits. And if you know,
yeah, you told me about Taskmaster in the first issue.
Yeah, but if you know your history of punk and you know the Misfits, that is hilarious because the Misfits love to sell the fuck out. And the one he looks like, the member of the Misfits he looks like, is notorious money grubber, always just trying to keep the band going so he can make money off of touring and merch.
Nice.
So it's just like, it's a good punk reference. It's like, yeah.
So like the dude who wrote this clearly knows his punk.
Yeah, he at least knows his like 80s, 90s punk. It doesn't feel like very contemporary punk. Because, as you can see, it is very 80s, 90s, early 90s punk. Because, like, Miss Marvel's a little skater punk. Miss Marvel skater punk. There we go. She's the rep of, like, skater punk, modern emo.
Yeah.
She listens to American football.
It's probably the only kind of punk I've ever engaged with. Because isn't that what... oh god, I forgot their name. The band that does Ruby's theme. Aren't they like skater punk?
Ruby
Soho.
Oh, that's Rancid.
Yes.
They are skate pop ska.
Okay.
Punk.
Because like I have listened to a couple I might have listened to other stuff that's designated as punk and just not known it, but like the only stuff I know for a fact is a punk I've listened to. Ruby Soho is a wrestler, you fuck.
Yeah, no, I was just going like Ruby. I just needed the other details.
Yeah. But like I've listened to a couple of Rancid songs besides Ruby's.
I mean, you probably heard some Green Day.
I do. Oh yeah, I've heard Green Day songs. But I do generally like Rancid's stuff, and Ruby's theme is in my gym playlist. It came on while I was doing leg presses the other day.
And I mean, hell, you've listened to some Nirvana, and I would consider grunge an offshoot of punk.
I guess that does jive.
At least early grunge before it solidified into its own genre in the 90s. You don't have any weed.
Yeah. Green
Day is a reference to weed.
I mean, like, I never realized that, but that does make perfect sense. Because I was an innocent child. Like, the first Green Day song I ever heard was 21 Guns. That's the kind of kid I
Not
was.
even American Idiot, damn.
American Idiot was a little too early for me to have been into music. Like, I heard 21 Guns because it was on the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen soundtrack. And that movie came out when I was 12.
Damn. I need to give you Dookie so you can listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the Spider-Punk, it's basically like, hey, I wanna tell the story, but better and more detail. And just play with the characters. And it's like, yeah, cool, fun. Exactly what it needs to be. It is a reference to Weed Buster.
It's good emoji use, though.
But then we both read Amazing Spider-Man #9 by Zeb Wells. One of those two letters.
Another in the installment of people probably hated this issue, but I thought it was okay.
It was an okay issue so long as you accept the current status quo as being fine.
And you read the Hellfire Gala, and you don't mind that it came out like a month later.
Yeah. But it's fine. It's fun. It explains why Spider-Man was there. Wolverine was playing a prank.
Mm-hmm.
Which was cute.
The ending is maybe a bit harsh of a way to write Mary Jane, but like it does make sense within the status quo.
It does make sense within the status quo, but it also makes sense with what the next issue is, which is the Judgment Day tie-in.
Oh, I didn't even realize that, because in the next issue page, it's just the cover with the logo. So I was like, oh god, are we getting a fucking chameleon or not chameleon, fucking jackal special?
No, because the next cover is Spider-Man looking up at Gwen Stacy. And real quick, whenever the progenitor, the new Celestial, comes and judges you, he takes the form of what you will feel the most judged by.
Yeah.
So that's why it's Gwen Stacy.
That, so like that makes sense.
Yeah. Judgment Day is the current Marvel event that's going on, Buster.
Yeah, that's the big Avengers X-Men Eternals event that's happening right now.
That they advertise.
The Celestials have come back to judge.
No, they made a brand new Celestial. But they advertise it as like this big war between the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Eternals, and it's just like, no, we're just doing this metaphysical context of like, what does it mean to be a person in the human world in the Marvel comics?
Yeah.
But yeah, this was fun. At least Spider-Man and Wolverine teaming up and going on an adventure was fun in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary Jane going like, yo, no, will this help the mutants? Cool, I am happy to be bait.
I could do without it being the Goblin suit, because like, I don't hate the idea of Peter working with Norman for a little bit, but I think the Goblin suit is dumb.
I don't mind the Goblin suit, it's fine. I think
the cover is neat outside of there being word balloons on it.
I hate.
It's the worst.
It would have looked so much better without the word balloons.
That shit should have died in the 60s.
Yeah. But hey, you read Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue 15.
The big, grand, epic finale to everything Tom Taylor has been doing on this book up to this point. It's alright. Like, it's not bad. It makes sense. Everything they do is solid. There's a pretty awesome moment where you think Henry Bendix has gotten away, and then Lex shows up and is just like, hey, you almost got me in big trouble, and I can't be having people doing that. I have a reputation to uphold, so I'm just going to shoot you into space. And then there's another awesome moment a little bit before that, where Bendix is about to do something that could fuck John up, and then Damian just takes out the piece of tech he's using.
Nice.
And it's like, haha, fuck you.
Lex Luthor just comes in and goes like, there can only be one bald prick in the DC universe.
Yeah. And like, this was just kind of like the culmination of like, Yeah, I dig where John's at. I like him as our big gay super modern Superman. I like his friendship with Damian. I dude, I fucking Bendix, not Bendis. Uh I made that mistake too though initially. Uh I I've come so far with Damian Wayne as a character, and we're going to talk about this a bit more later. But like, I was one of those people who, when Morrison introduced Damian, I was like, this is the new Robin. He's like Batman's son, and he's a moody lone wolf asshole. Fuck this! I hate this character. And like through the end of Morrison's run, and other people getting to write Damian, he has gone from fuck this character to this Bruce. Don't be selfish. That is everyone's son.
Yep.
So like, good solid issue. Fine end to everything Taylor has been doing so far, and I'm glad that it's not full on the end of his run. I'm glad he's going to keep on for the return of Kal-El coming next issue.
Robins, other than like alternate universe Robins, tend to stick around.
Mm-hmm. Though he has had like the longest run of a Robin in a while. Like, I think he's almost been around longer than Tim.
But yeah, though I'm specifically talking about Robins, Buster. Robins tend to stick around.
Yeah. Unless you count Stephanie Brown, but she was like barely a Robin.
Yeah. Also, I would just like to put a little asterisk on John. He is currently in a gay relationship. As far as we are to understand, he is a bisexual man.
That's right. I'm sorry.
No, you did a common thing where you.
But like it's a bad thing though, and I always do it with comic characters for some reason. Where I'm like, oh, they're dating someone of the same sex. They're gay. Like that, my mind automatically goes to that. Bi people exist. I need to acknowledge that, and I'm sorry I keep forgetting.
Bi and pan, because Deadpool considers himself pan in several comics.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying you're wrong. I would just want to make it more just understood and clear. Mm-hmm. As far as we know as a comic audience,
the stupid straight white boy that I am, and I apologize.
Because remember, Harley Quinn is bi. I'm pretty sure Ivy's lesbian. I'm pretty sure she's like actual just.
I mean, it depends on how you think about it, because I think she had straight relationships before she became Poison Ivy. But who knows how much of that is in continuity.
I don't know why, but I find Vac explaining they're gay cracks me up.
It's because I'm a stupid straight white boy.
Hey, guess what? We both read XMen Red.
So this issue was good.
Mm-hmm.
I acknowledge that. But like, it's so heavily tied into Judgment Day, and I'm not reading Judgment Day, that I almost felt like I could have skipped it.
You could have skipped it, but there was a lot of great character development between Storm, Magneto, and Roberto.
Mm-hmm. I do like the one scene where Fisher King is like, yo, Magneto, you good, be good. Because those scenes are always great.
Oh, Magneto is in hype fucking mode.
Magneto is in, like, using his final attack for longer than he probably should mode.
Because, okay, real quick, during Judgment Day, Magneto has to get into a fight with a big bad evil asshole. And basically he gets his heart ripped out of his body. And so he is pumping his blood by manipulating the iron in it to just keep circulating so he can keep fighting.
And people all throughout this issue go, yo, you need to get to the healing gardens. You're gonna die before this is all over. And he's like, if I die, I die. People need me.
It's so fucking hype. And then Storm comes in and goes like, hey, yo, want some electricity?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but the way to describe it is beautiful, because the way it's described and the way that the people of Morocco see them working together is like seeing someone fuck in public for the first time. Because that's what it basically is kind of framed as, is like the Iraqi people have not seen such intimacy in public before, breaking so many taboos. and it is beautiful.
Which is fucking crazy that it's Magneto and Storm who are being paired up that way.
Mm-hmm. It is just beautiful. It's all that kind of stuff. And then basically the Arakko people that are there with them are like, yo, know what? Maybe the old ways need to die. Maybe we need to start looking over our Krakoan neighbors and start seeing eye to eye. We win today. Tomorrow is a new day for Arakko.
So, like, again, I felt like I could have skipped this issue because it is so heavily about Judgment Day shit, but it is kind of a pivotal moment in the X-Men oeuvre of things that have been happening since Hoxpox.
Yep. What was the other thing that was really cool? There's another thing. Oh yeah, Roberto's shown to be like a secret member of the council.
Not like a member, he's like an agent for the council, I think they said.
Yeah. Like, basically, he's, like, there's 3 seats that are basically, like, if you fuck up, we're gonna get you. If you fuck up majorly, we'll get you.
They're like hidden folders on a PC.
Yeah. But it's beautiful. The end panel, where all of the Arakkan fucking council are just standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to fucking take on the world. It's just so badass. And
that's
you remember,
gonna be a great poster.
It will be a great poster, especially if you love the Iraqi mutants, because they're just fucking weirdos. One of them just looks like an axolotl.
And here's the thing. I think because of how into the Iraqi mutants you are, I think the Iraqi mutants are going to be a thing that, like, there's going to be a certain subset of X-Men fans who, in, like, 10 to 15 years are going to be like, dude, remember the Iraqi mutants? They were so fucking dope. How come we don't have, like, a good full set of action figures of those guys yet?
Yeah. But hey, X-Men Red, really good. I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it, but you skimmed over some things.
I might have actually skimmed a couple pages, yeah.
Well, the character development's really good. The plot stuff is like, yeah. If you're reading Judgment Day, it ties in beautifully. It's beautiful. It works. It's so good. But hey, I read issue 5 of Savage Avengers. Hey, you know how you've been saying that they lost the rights to Conan?
It finally affected the book.
Yeah, it finally affected the book. Because basically, they solve the problem. They save Conan. They do all the things. Conan helps the Avengers get back to their time, or like what they perceive as their time. They get out of the Hyberian age, all that kind of stuff. Big old fight, big old kerfuffle. It's just a bunch of action scenes. And then the final, there's a chunk of the book that is just basically like, that basically goes like, Conan the Barbarian's badass. He's awesome. And he will continue to have adventures. He will always have adventures because he's Conan the Barbarian. He's awesome. People like reading about him. But now and forevermore, he is an Avenger. As you see him in his throne room, an old man with his son and wife, and the Avengers A is behind him.
It's like a the story will go on in your mind moment.
Yeah, but it's also saying like, hey, it's now officially canon in Conan Barbarian. He's been an Avenger. He's been an Avenger. Please don't take that away. But all the other Avengers land in a New York City, but not the New York City we know. Cause what the shock? They're in 2099.
Oh, fuck! That's cool.
As 2099 Punisher goes, who the shock are you?
They deadass use 2099 Punisher. That's great.
It is straight up during 2099. It's great. It is a fun, badass ending for Conan because he's basically like, he helps the Avengers get back to where they helps them to get back to where they need to be going, at least on the path. And he just gets to be Conan. But he's still an Avenger, and he honors that role. He remembers those times working with the Avengers.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, cool. I mean, I understand that you lost the license and all that stuff, so it's like, yeah, totally fair.
It's a classy way to say we're not going to be able to use him anymore, but he still is valid instead of the the kind of way they sometimes do of just like
Rom the Space Knight.
And he's over there now.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
They didn't Rom the Space Knight him. They basically went like, we can't write him anymore, but he's still cool. Everybody enjoy him. Yeah, but it's fun. We both read Marvel Midnight Suns.
So I'm gonna go ahead and apologize in advance. I thought this was super mid.
Here's the thing. It's fine you said that because it's a lot of setup, and it's basically like, hey, have you been reading Strange Academy? Or at least know of Strange Academy? And have been keeping up with a lot of the supernatural shit in Marvel Comics? Cool. If you haven't, we gotta catch you up, so it's a lot of exposition.
That, and it also just feels like a plot I've seen a billion times before. Mm-hmm. Like, this feels like every version of Raven from DC Comics. This feels a little like early Harry Potter books, where it's like, oh, this person has a magic, somewhat demonic destiny that they're afraid of, and some of the other people in the school call them a freak for it, but all the adults at the school are just trying to help, even though it's kind of scary the way they're saying they're trying to help.
I agree. I understand your complaints. I'm going to keep reading, and if it gets better, I'll tell you. But if it kind of stays the path, you can skip it.
Like, here's the thing. I would really like a book report that specifically mentions if Ileana does anything cool. But other than that, I'm not interested.
Yeah, because this was just, hey, we need to grab Wolverine because he's going to be in the video game soon.
Yeah, like, this really feels like it's only happening because the video game is happening soon, so they need to have that brand synergy. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like they're not trying, but it also doesn't feel like anybody really wanted to do this. It feels like, okay, Marvel needs a Midnight Suns book to happen, so what have we got?
Yeah.
And, like, again, the coolest thing Ileana does in this book is goes and gets Wolverine.
But, like, there's a bunch of fun characters that they're using. They're using Blade, they're using Ileana, they're using Nico. Yeah, no, Midnight Suns, the video game.
Yeah.
They're using the Spirit Rider, who is another Ghost Rider.
That was a cool pull.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
Man, imagine, like I said, we'll probably get a Danny Ketch if the Engine of Vengeance funds. I could see them doing her too if the Engine of Vengeance funds.
Yeah. Overall, I am happy with what this is, which is just a fun, like, look at all the supernatural characters.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you're a big fan of that corner of the Marvel Universe, which I know you are, this was probably a lot of fun.
I'm a fan of every corner.
For me, it was just like... But, like, the supernatural corner is one of those ones that I get the feeling you especially like.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, for me, this was just kind of like, this is fine, but I don't feel a need to read the next issue.
Yeah. I'll keep you informed.
Mm-hmm.
But you read Obi-Wan.
Yes, the final issue of Star Wars Obi-Wan, which is kind of like a calmer story than we've gotten. Well, like, all the previous ones have been like very pointed, action-packed stories from different points in Obi-Wan's life. They're trying to make a point about something in the Star Wars universe. This is just kind of like a funny thing happened on the way to save Luke from the Tusken Raiders.
Oh.
Because what happens in this issue is a group of Tusken Raiders use the sandstorm that has been happening all throughout this series and has been like the impetus of like Obi-Wan is stuck at home during a sandstorm, so he's just writing in his journal as a way to have something to do. The sandstorm lets up, and the Imperial outpost at Mos Eisley realizes that a group of Tusken Raiders used it as cover to steal a bunch of their weapons. And the officer on duty is furious, and so he sends out all the troopers all the stormtroopers to go and get the weapons back, and they get massacred. Like, it's straight up an ambush, and the only one that survives is the commander. And Obi-Wan comes across him after all this has happened and is like, this is a bad idea, but I can't ignore my Jedi oath to help anyone in need. So he takes the guy back to his hut and nurses him back to health. And the first thing that happens when the guy wakes up is like, there's a lightsaber on the wall. You're a fucking Jedi. Oh shit, I gotta kill you. Oh, and he tries to take the Obi-Wan's lightsaber and kill him with it. And Obi-Wan just quickly disarms him and is like, look, I mean you no harm. If you just go and don't say anything to anyone, we can both forget about this. And he does. He fucks off. And he goes back to his officer and is like, look, I'm sorry I lost all of my men. There was nothing I could do. They totally blindsided us. It's a miracle that I survived to come back and tell you what happened. And the officer is just like, fucking unacceptable. I'm reassigning you, and I'm gonna get a bunch of new guys in to do the job that you couldn't. And I'm trying to remember what exactly happens in the ending. I'm gonna check real quick. Oh yeah, it's just like the guy is just like, well, that fucking sucked, but I'm still committed to the Empire, despite everything that happened. Though now I kind of have lingering doubts. And then we see like a wrap-up narration from Obi-Wan that is like, crazy shit happens on Tatooine. Who knows what's going to happen next? As we see Luke staring up at the twin suns from A New Hope. Okay. So like, the next thing that happens in Obi-Wan's life after this miniseries is A New Hope.
I also would imagine those new stormtroopers come in and are the ones who do the thing to Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen.
Yeah, and they're like the ones that he does the mind trick on too.
Yeah, so they're not used to shit, you know. Neat. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
Like, here's the thing. This isn't essential. This isn't if you're a Star Wars fan, you have to check this out because this is great. This isn't even the best Obi-Wan focused piece of media I've ever seen. I still think that's the now non-canonical novel. Like, my ranking would go the Star Wars Legends novel, the Disney Plus series, and this. But this is still good, and like if Obi-Wan is your favorite character like me, you're still gonna enjoy this.
Fair enough. What happened? We both read Miss Marvel and Venom.
Yeah, this was solid. Like, again, this is another thing where like I don't have a problem with this. But, like, I didn't love it. It was just like, yeah, this is a good way to end this. I like Miss Marvel and Venom's interactions. They were fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a Marvel
I think that Moon Knight and Wolverine came back.
Yeah, it's Marvel team up.
Yeah.
What was the fuck? Miss Marvel made, like, a pop culture reference. And then Moon Knight was like, wait, what? What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh god, I don't remember. Let me look.
It's near the end in the
Yeah. Hang on, I am close to the end at the moment.
But no, this was fun. It was great. It was also fun to see Miss Marvel interact with what's technically another teenage hero.
Yeah, because that's
Dylan.
That's his kid, right?
That's Dylan Brock. That's not Eddie.
Mm. Okay, so the line is gonna see if there's a cure for the cure, distract them, but avoid hitting back as much as you can. It just makes them Tetsuo
Akira.
Yes, okay. That's right. Yeah, because they do turn into big Akira Cronenbergs, the monsters.
And it's just fun. It's just like, Miss Marvel watches anime, guys.
Mm-hmm.
She's a weeb.
And here's the thing. I did get that in the moment, because I have seen Akira. I just forgot it right now, because I was like, wait, how is that pronounced again?
Tetsuo. And I love how Moon Knight's like, what the fuck? It's just fun. It's just a fun little... It is a non-essential, non-world changing story in the world. which is what a lot of people have been saying they want more of from Marvel.
You know what it is? It's a filler arc.
Yeah. But it's not bad. It's fun. It's well written. It's good read.
Mm-hmm.
Zero One has an Oculus slide?
Yeah, it does.
Hell yeah.
I know about that.
A lot of things have an Oculus slide.
There's like an Akira slide in everything now, though.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this was fun. This was good. You read Godzilla versus Power Rangers.
Yes, the final issue of Godzilla versus MMPR, and it is admittedly very much a wrap-up issue. There's a lot of this that feels like the first 5-ish pages are like the big climactic battle, and then there's a lot of, okay, this is where this character goes now. This is how this character gets back to their universe. Blah, 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 blah. But it's not bad. It's enjoyable. It's interesting. It does set up potentially a sequel if they want to, because apparently every crossover gets a sequel now in comics. Because like we're getting IDW, we're getting Power Rangers versus TMNT too soon.
We had the Batman TMNT trilogy.
Yeah. So like, I wouldn't be opposed to another one of these because overall, I thought this was a solid crossover. It wasn't amazing, but like there were some fun pulls in it. It felt like fairly savvy about it, though. Like if they're gonna do a sequel, let's use some more teams. Let's get some other Rangers in this, because like, yes, the MMPR team. I've been on this rant 1,000 times. Yes, the MMPR team is the most recognizable, most iconic, and like that's how you're gonna sell it. But like, there's more interesting teams you could pair up with Godzilla. Like, I would love to see Lightspeed Rescue reacting to a Godzilla disaster.
That'd be interesting. But overall, would you suggest this miniseries?
Yeah, if you're a fan of both, it's a fun, non-essential read, much like that Obi-Wan miniseries.
Do you think
it'd be stuff wrapping up that like was good but not great?
Would you? From what you say, it sounds like it'd be much better in the trade.
Probably, yeah.
I read Iron Man number 23.
That looks a little like Infamous Iron
Man. It is not.
Yeah, I'm just saying it has that vibe.
So, Iron Man is working with Carl on a plan to basically buy all the weapons that are on the black market to get them out of the hands of bad guys. And it works for a little bit, but the bad guys get wise. They realize that Carl's been doing this for, being suspicious about it. So they use one of the weapons on him, and it sends him to the past. Because it's a time gun. And Tony goes...
It's the gun from the Justice League Unlimited adaptation of Death of Superman.
Yeah. And basically, Tony goes like, alright, cool. He's in the past. We'll go save him real quick. But we need to finish this up because we need to, stop all of this. And then we can start dismantling all those weapons that we have stockpiled in a fucking warehouse over in New York. And it's just, what the fuck? Because Patsy walks in. It's like fucking Indiana Jones. Not Temple of Doom. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh.
The warehouse. It's just a bunch of fucking weapons. And so Tony comes up with a plan of, alright, cool. They know I'm doing this, so why fucking lie? I'm just gonna fucking bluff my way through it. Go as Tony Stark, and just go hey, I'm just gonna pay you the $3 million to give me the rings and take them off the market. And the guy at first is like, why should I fucking do that? Why should I do it? And Tony just goes because money is money and you don't give a shit. Here's $3 billion for the Mandarin's 10 rings. It's oh shit, you actually did that. Okay. You're dumb, but okay. Because it's a double trick. It's a double cross. Carl's been working with the bad guys the entire time, going dude, I was just bait for you. You've been treating me like a piece of shit this entire time. I was working with these guys before you even called me. By the way, we've already sold the rings. You just gave us $3 billion for nothing. Guess who has the rings? Cobalt Man. And he shows up, and that's the last panel. Is Cobalt Man with the 10 rings going like, what's up, bitch?
Who the fuck is Cobalt Man? I've never heard of that guy.
Old Iron Man villain.
Okay.
Like, this book is genuinely trying to reboot, like, bring back some classic Iron Man villains to the prominence. But yeah, no. It's good Iron Man shit. Good Iron Man shit.
Alright, I just Googled him. Cobalt Man looks like a solid, I can't believe it's not Iron Man villain. I would not mind a Marvel Legends aim.
Yeah. We both read Batman versus Robin.
You read this?
It's the continuation of Wade's Batman Superman story.
I did not expect you to read this, though. Like, I thought you were gonna be in that camp of like, oh, it's stupid to have them fight. And like, granted, it is stupid to have them fight.
Because I already read a spoiler that the reason made sense when you get through it.
Yeah. This is surprisingly good. Like, this, for as much as like the title is something that would put off a lot of DC fans, the actual contents of this issue is like shit a bunch of DC fans have been asking for ages. Because it fucking starts with, hey, Alfred's back. How? Who gives a fuck? Alfred's back.
Dark Crisis, whatever.
Yeah. And I love that, like, they go through the whole thing of, like, Bruce grills him and gives him and asks him questions only Alfred would know. Bruce knows this is impossible, but he can't help but be happy because it's his surrogate dad back from the dead. And, like, his memory lines up with how he died. And, like, he's gonna give him a medical examination, and then, oh shit, Damien's here and he's being a fucker.
Damien shows up with Harry Potter.
Yeah. And, like, apparently, if you have been reading the Robin run that was going on for a little, the Robin solo book that was going on for a little bit, it properly built to this and it made sense. I did read a synopsis. I unfortunately missed out on that run. It started before I got back into current. But, like, I dug the fight. I thought the fight was pretty badass. And then, like, the after bit with Zatanna being Schrodinger's cat was weirdly cool.
That was fun. All the magic people just being incapacitated, so now Batman has to deal with all the magic bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, that's a thing people forget, but is always cool when it comes up, is, like, Batman has ties to the supernatural, mystical side of the DC universe.
He just hates it.
All those people.
He just absolutely hates it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, here's the thing. This is directly a continuation of Wade's Batman Superman book. Because the bad guy at the end is the fucking demon they were fighting.
Yeah. That's cool. That's solid. I like that they... Like, that's so... Like, we were praising that book for, like, oh, it's fun, out-of-continuity Silver Age-esque stuff. No, that was fun, in-continuity Silver Age shit.
Yeah,
and, like,
great.
it's coming back to bite him now.
It's all good. Like, just solid shit. Solid shit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guess what we also both read?
Do a powerbomb!
Do a powerbomb!
This is my favorite issue so far.
This was amazing.
Like, every issue has been my favorite issue so far, but this fucking issue, dude. Like, I feel like the art went to another level from where it's been at in the book so far.
Okay, I, all day, after I read that, was sharing images of the Gladiator doing the lariat.
That, like, holy crap. That dude, Daniel Warren Johnson, draws a lariat that looks as powerful as a lariat feels when done right in a wrestling match. Like, it looks as good as some of the best buckshot lariats have been.
This is a love letter to pro wrestling in its most purest of forms.
Mm-hmm. And the fucking training montage splash.
Did you read the sound effects for the montages, though? The first one is montage! And the second one is another montage!
Yeah, that's right. That's great.
Because Daniel Warren Johnson, when he does sound effects in his comics, just says the word. So instead of going blam blam, it's gunshot, gunshot.
Yeah, I love that Cobra Sun is actually trying to connect with his daughter now. Mm-hmm. He's actually acknowledging like, shit, you are good at this, and if we're gonna win, we need to work as a team.
I also love him reminiscing about being a tag team partner with his wife, her mom, that she doesn't know he's related to them.
And you can tell it means so much to her to hear that shit.
Yeah.
And then the fucking reveal and subsequent jobbering of the uncle was so epic.
Because that's just pure wrestling right there. But then the final panel of Cobra Sun just going like, all right, they think Earth's wrestling is fake. We'll show you what's fake. And they pull out the hardcore GC dubs. Fucking bullshit.
He's wearing a fucking GCW shirt on the cover of the next issue. Let's fucking go.
He has a fucking barbed wire covered steel chair, baseball bat, light tubes.
And I'm just gonna put it out there, because I know we don't do a wrestling podcast anymore, but like, Tony Khan, if you are anywhere near as good as a business person as we think you are gonna scoop Daniel Warren Johnson up, and you are gonna get with Image, and there is going to be an AEW ongoing after this.
I would love that, but also, hey, if you can't do that, Daniel Warren Johnson, please just do some art for some AEW shirts.
Yeah.
And cross promo material.
Or like, I know wrestling toys love to just use photos of the actual wrestlers for box art. But, like, could you imagine if Daniel Warren Johnson did box art for the AEW figures?
Oh, man. Here's another thought. You remember Tiger Mask?
Yeah.
So, the concept of Tiger Mask is there was a manga that was about pro wrestling starring a character called Tiger Mask. And to promote it, they made a professional wrestler called Tiger Mask that wrestled in real life. Hey, how would you like to see Cobra Sun wrestle in AEW?
Wasn't even going there. I just thought, like, oh, Tiger Mask, the comic book. Let's make that happen. The American comic book. Let's make that happen.
No, I'm thinking bring Cobra Mask into real life.
Okay, of the like wrestlers that are that build right now, who would you pick?
Here's the thing: they can't have very big, noticeable tattoos, so it can't be Lance Archer.
No.
Honestly, I don't know who to get. I would just think that'd be fun to see.
It would be. I know he's super busy right now, but imagine if Wardlow started pulling double duty as Cobra Sun.
Oh, that'd be fun. That would be so much fun. Oh man, this is all pipe dream. Danny Warren Johnson has fucking do a powerbomb merch though on his website.
The perfect person to play Cobra Sun is staring us right in the face. Like, right age, appropriate promo skills, appropriate build, still active. Dustin fucking Rhodes.
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Oh my god, even him outside of the mask looks like Dustin. Because he's a white dude with blonde hair.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, you don't even have to be super cheesy with it. Like, all he has to do is say, I went through hell and back for people I love.
He doesn't even have to have an especially long run. Just do a series of, like, jobber matches to get him to set up a pay-per-view match and have that be the long and short of it.
Yeah, it's just a fun cross-promotional thing. Please, Tony Khan. Please, Daniel Warren Johnson. Please, Image. Please, Warner Discovery.
Please, Dustin.
Please, everybody. For us.
For the sake of all that is good and fucking professional wrestling.
Oh, but this was beautiful. This was just
Mhm.
amazing. Do a
And we've
power
still
bomb.
got like two or three issues left.
I kind of just want this to be ongoing forever. I just wanted like 30 issues, 40 issues.
Mm-hmm.
Do a power bomb is amazing.
But hey, a thing isn't beautiful because it
Oh,
lasts.
I know. I'm just making sure what we have left. So, tell me about Wonder Woman.
All right, Dark Crisis, Worlds Without a Justice League, Wonder Woman, also featuring Martian Manhunter, one shot. Uh, so I've been very touch and go with these, and this one is a little bit weird because the premise is supposed to be that we fought Pariah, killed the Justice League, but actually he trapped them in alternate Earths that are giving them lives they've always wanted. It's that old keep the heroes distracted by putting them in a mind control world of their dreams thing while the other more minor heroes have to figure it out. It's fucking Man Who Has Everything, but with the whole Justice League.
Yeah.
However, this world doesn't especially seem like Diana's happy
Oh,
because it's like it's a world where initially it seems like, oh, this is kind of cool, this is fun for Diana, and then everything very quickly goes to shit because the plot of the issue is Etta Candy becomes president, first female president of the United States,
okay.
and they also like honor her as like, hey, you're not just an American, you're the first Amazonian American president, and we're honoring you as one of our sisters after your inauguration. And it's really sweet and really wholesome for about 5 pages before we find out that like the Amazons have gotten like secretly paranoid and they're planning to leave Earth because they're expecting men to have a war that will destroy the entire population of Earth, inevitable because nuclear weapons exist. And Diana freaks out and tries to stop them, but she ends up getting left behind because Hippolyta turned Themyscira into a giant rocket ship and they just fuck off. And that's how the book ends.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's like it's not badly written, it's just a weird choice.
Hey,
Conversely, though, the Martian Manhunter backup is fucking cool
nice.
because it's just straight up a detective noir where John Jones is in a world where he's out and proud as a Martian, and because of that, the people of Earth went like, "Oh shit, Martian physiology is actually like really dope and kind of more practical than us in some ways." So we just fucking did biological engineering to make ourselves more like Martians. So like all humans are like minor shapeshifters and telepaths, and
It's
they
not
can
so much that we can
regenerate
like.
limbs.
It's not so much we can completely shapeshift like Martian Manhunter, but we can like raise and lower our cheekbones.
Uh-huh. And well, and here's the thing. The way they also can like regenerate limbs, and the way they got to regenerate limbs is everybody has a little bit of squid DNA. So instead of hair, everybody has tentacles. So like John's got a big old tentacle beard and he looks like Cthulhu.
What the fuck?
And it's just a fucking cool story about him trying to solve a serial killer case where like this serial killer keeps leaving a message of, is this heaven on earth or is this paradise on earth, over all of his bodies. And like John keeps thinking about like, what does that mean? What would that mean to certain people? What is this killer looking for? Because that's how I'm gonna find him. And like there's a really cool wholesome scene where Jean has a human family. He's moved on. He's gotten over his grief over Mars, and he's actually found a human wife and has kids with her. And like he's talking about it with his wife because it's their anniversary and they're having a nice dinner together. And she's like, well, because he asks her, what would paradise on earth be to you? And she's like, well, let's be real here. I know to you it would be to be back with your Martian family and be back on Mars and that the genocide never happened. And like I'm kind of okay with that. And he stops her and he goes, no, I'm over it. Like, yes, I mourned my family. I'm sad that they're gone, but I have a new family with you, and I fucking love them. Don't mistake that. And like, it's
Aw,
such a great scene.
beautiful.
It's like I would recommend picking this up just for the Martian Manhunter back.
Nice. You ready to get weird and existential?
Sure.
I read issue 10 of Venom.
Oh shit, I forgot you were still reading that.
So basically, this just, like, rips all the fucking weird bullshit that's been going on and explains everything.
Mm.
So, Eddie is omnipresent, but he's omniscient.
Uh-huh.
So what that means is he can kind of be anywhere and everywhere, but he still sees time and events in a linear fashion. So what that means is he slipped by accident because of his omnipresence into a time loop, which has basically created his own personal hell.
This is a Groundhog Day issue?
This is multiple Groundhog Days where Bill Murray has to fight Bill Murray and has to fight Bill Murray.
That's great. That's so cool. I like that.
Basically, he slips into this weird time loop where he lives through certain amounts of time, but always ends up in the same space and time. And every time he ends up in the same place, he turns into a different being, essentially. It's still Eddie Brock, but he's not human Eddie, he's symbiotes. So the first time, he's Venom. He's classic Eddie Brock's Venom symbiote, the whole 9 yards. But the second time around, he becomes a quivering mess of fear and paranoia because he just learned the truth of what of what's happened to him, that he is in his own personal Groundhog Day hell. And he's like trying to stop it, but he is slowly melting because he can't control himself anymore because of the revelation of like, oh no, fuck, I have fucked everything up. I have killed my son. I've done all this shit. Oh no, fuck me. You know? And he's trying to go talk to the original Eddie, the one who starts this whole thing. And he goes like, you gotta get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And then the Eddie that comes after him, Bedlam, is angry at himself. He's pissed that he let this happen. He is angry at everything that's transpired, and he is taking out that anger on himself. Other Eddie Brocks. So he just takes up the recently like learned Eddie who knows all this shit and goes like, fuck you, and starts ripping him. And like the entire time, this version of Eddie Brock is like going like, this is deja vu. I remember all of this happening. Oh no, it's predestiny. What the, like, I have no control over my will. What is happening? And we slowly learned that all the Eddies we saw in this weird pocket dimension are just Eddie Brock, are just different versions of Eddie Brock on one single timeline, each creating a different version of themselves. And the sixth version is the guy who's controlling it so far as we are aware. The dude on the cover who's about to eat the two Venoms. And he's basically like, Eddie, I'm you, you're me. I'm just you in the future. Look, we're stuck here. You eventually turn into me. There's not much we can do. Just fucking accept it. This is destiny. This is fate. There's no changing it. And Eddie's like, fuck you!
You're gonna become monarch.
Yeah. And basically, earlier in the book, though, that guy tells Eddie, as he's slowly melting and learning all this information, goes like, oh yeah, no, there's 7 rings here, representative of the 7 paths we must go on, all that kind of stuff, and so on and so forth. And he shows all the people version of Eddie's and goes like, and that version of Eddie goes like, wait a second, he says there's 7, but there's only 6 of us here. So I must have hope that the 7th version of me can break us free. So basically, this whole book is Eddie being stripped of ego, self-analyzing and looking at the self-harm he has caused himself and the abuse he has caused to himself, analyzing it, and moving forward from it.
Neat.
But that's also why Kang, when he saw Eddie Brock, goes like, oh, we're friends. What? We've never talked before. Because Kang was thinking about the later version of Eddie, who's the villain of the book. They're friends. And it's just like, yes, Eddie Brock's greatest villain has always been Eddie fucking Brock.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just
remember, back when Eddie Brock was introduced, the impetus behind the character was it's the exact opposite of Peter Parker. He doesn't take everything personally. He's not constantly racked with guilt and thinking he has to help everyone.
He blames everyone else.
It's always someone else's fault, even if he was the one who fucked up.
But now here's the thing. It is someone else's fault, but that someone else is still Eddie Brock.
Mm-hmm.
He has no one to blame but himself. Like,
that's pretty good.
Like, genuinely beautiful, amazing, because the heartbreak you see on Eddie as he's learning all of this and realizing, oh no, I am bound by fate to continue this path. Oh, so good. But hey,
it sounds like a spectacular issue, and it kind of it just puts into perspective like how people really shouldn't sleep on books after like a big amazing run and just assume that they need to take a break with the next run, because like a ton of people dropped off the book after Kate's run ended because it was so amazing and bombastic and climactic feeling at the end. And like, fair, but well, I'm not particularly interested in reading Venom because just like the idea of Venom as a hero doesn't particularly appeal to me in general.
Mm-hmm.
What you have told me of this book has sounded fairly good.
Yeah. It's basically two stories. It's Dylan Brock going through the classic Venom story, and Eddie going through this psychedelic fucking self-realization trip. All the while, that self-realization trip is hurting Dylan because the angry version of Eddie goes and fights Dylan, and it's like, oh no, the anger that one feels towards themselves is ultimately abusive to their family. What the fuck? The self-abuse we inflict on ourselves is abusive to our family. Holy shit. That is something that, like, that's a real thing.
Yeah. There's a cycle, you gotta break it.
Yeah. And this is just Eddie, like, because before it's Eddie realizing he can be a hero. Donny Cates' run is basically like, Eddie is capable of being a hero. He is capable of growth. He is capable of becoming the man that he needs to be to raise Dylan. This is Ewing going, yeah, he's capable, but he needs to learn the fucking lesson.
How do you actually do that, though?
Yeah. It's like, they work so well together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get slept on because it's not Donny Cates' run. You're right.
It's unfortunate, but it's just a thing that tends to happen sometimes.
So, we have Judgment Day, issue 4. So.
Okay.
This solidifies the understanding of what the Progenitor's judgment truly is.
All right.
This is not him judging humanity and people on his terms. He is judging everybody on their own terms.
We already kind of know that from some of the tie-ins, though.
It's from some of the tie-ins, but this, like, it shows us a bunch of different characters, and it really solidifies, this is why I judged them, this is the things, and this is, like, blah, blah, blah. And, like, it just solidifies it. It's just more solid now. Before it was, like, jelly, now it's, like, a gummy bear.
Okay.
And we see some fun ones. Like, he judges Professor Xavier. So he shows up as Legion and just goes like, "Hey, Dad, we need to talk." And Professor Xavier goes like, "Not right now, I'm busy." And so he judges him. He judges him negatively. He thumbs down because Professor Xavier did not live up to his own lofty goal of being basically the father of mutant kind. How can you be the father of mutant kind when you cannot even be the father of your own son? There's some great ones there. Like, he judges Miles Morales. He shows up as Peter Parker and gives Miles a thumbs up. Miles just looks back at Peter and just gives him a thumbs up. It's just like, yeah, of course Miles is judged thumbs up. Because he is living up to the ideal that he wants to be Spider-Man. He wants to help people. He doesn't have the guilt that Peter has dragging him down. You know?
Yeah.
He shows up to Kamala Khan as Carol Danvers and says like, "Hey, Kamala, shit's going down. I got a fucking spaceship. I can get you and your family out of here." And Kamala immediately fucking attacks Carol and goes like, you're not Captain Marvel. Who the fuck are you?" And the progenitor goes like, "All right, cool. You're good. Thumbs up."
That's like that moment in the Technis Imperative where fucking the Batman illusion smiles and hugs Nightwing, and he just pushes him away and goes, "You're not Batman!"
But it's like little moments like that are just fucking great. Dr. Doom gets judged, and the progenitor shows up as himself and goes like, "Hey, you want a thumbs up? All you have to do is say you're smarter, that Reed Richards is smarter than you." And Dr. Doom laughs in his face and goes like, "Ah, you're right, this was a test. You're standing hold to your convictions. You get a thumbs up, Dr. Doom." And basically, it's just a lot of little moments like that. People are getting judged, so on and so forth. And the heroes are basically realizing, like, we have no course of recourse. We have nothing we can do. But the Eternals have an idea. Basically, they want to at least stop the fighting. And the only way to truly do that is to get Druig off the Prime Eternal, so they have to hold another election. So what they do is they create a Unimine. Basically, they create a backdoor in the Unimine, make the Unimine over Krakoa, and then Jean Grey hacks into the Unimine and casts a vote for Eros. So Eros is now the Prime Eternal, the leader of the Eternals. And the entire book, he's been talking to people, and he's just been listening, and he's learning, and he's going like, what does humanity need? What does Earth need? What do we need to be better? What do we need to forge our future?
And he goes, "They need another Denny's." Wait, no, that's not.
No, but basically he goes like, yeah, no, I understand what we need to forge and to be a brotherhood of man and all that kind of stuff. And eventually he becomes the Prime Eternal. And he goes up to the Celestial and goes like, "Okay, progenitor, look, I know you want to judge everybody. And here's the thing. We understand it, but maybe you see the potential in us. And the idea of only giving us like this short amount of time to prove our worth isn't the right way to go about this. If you just give us time, we can build a better tomorrow. We can be better." And the progenitor basically goes like, "Here's the thing. My judgment's done. Because there will always be a tomorrow. That's why today is so shit. You will always put off making a better world because it's hard and hard to do."
That's a fucking good ass statement about the world. I like that.
And he basically goes like, "And I judge all of you unworthy because you're not putting in the effort to actually do it. You're just saying you want to put in the effort. You're not doing it. You're saying you're going to do it. And that is not holding true to your convictions," which is the whole point of what he's been doing. It's like, that's why he judged Captain America wrong. Because his convictions is, I need to stand up for the American dream and protect everybody and be a symbol of hope and truth. But every time America fails, Captain America feels like he fails. So he's not being he's failing his own convictions. That's why he was judged negatively. You know, it's all of it makes sense. But so while the Prime Eternal election was happening, Druig basically releases Thanos' granddaddy because he was afraid of what would happen. And so when the new Prime Eternal happens, he goes like, I've made a mistake. Very cheeky. And as the progenitor is judging Earth as a failure, the world starts burning in bright light. And Captain America is with the people, and he sees one person. He tries to lift up his shield and save them. The light pours down. He sees that the person in his arms is dead. His mask is half burned off. And he just looks and says, "We are all gonna die."
Fuck, dude.
Judgment Day is so fucking good. Legit. Read it when it's in trade, because, like, you can just run through it and you'll be happy.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's the last book.
Hooray! The fucking show ended before 1 a.m. for once.
Yeah, hey, you want to tell the people where they can find you?
Hey everybody, I'm the Vacuuminator. I make YouTube videos about tokusatsu and things. Next one probably won't actually be happening until like Christmas time because I'm having computer issues that I have to sort out and it's going to take a minute to get the funds up for that. But you can check out my back catalog by going to youtube.com/thevacuuminator, and you can also follow me on Twitter @thevacuuminator, where I give my thoughts on all kinds of things and stuff. And you can follow me on Instagram @thevacuuminator with an underscore in order to check out my figure photography. I just posted right before the show an awesome photo of the Red Skull meeting Cobra Commander.
Hell's bells. Hey, howdy. I am Chris, a Boingo writer Gaston. I do a variety of content on the internet. Would you like to see some Twitch streams? Twitch.tv/Boingo writer. Would you like to see videos on the YouTube, such as Gateway to Geats, a episode by episode look and breakdown of Kamen Rider Geats as it is airing? You can always subscribe to my YouTube channel, Boingo Writer. You can find it on YouTube. Pretty dang easy. And if you want to follow me on social media platforms, at Boingo_writer. But this has been comics, bud.
Sure has. It's not been like a banger week, but it's been a really good week.
It's really good week, and I had some highlights with like Judgment Day and Venom.
And like do a power bomb and that Martian Manhunter story for me, and She-Hulk was really good, and we got some cool news.
Yeah. But hey, anything else you want to say to the audience?
Well, just to give an update from last week, I still don't have my Renew Your Vows pack, but it has shipped, and it should be here on Thursday. So I'll probably talk a little bit about my thoughts on those figures on the next episode.
Nice. Enough said.
Indeed.